Abdul R.JanMohamed's work diverges from the prevailing trend in literary criticism, asserting that the conventional approach erroneously places colonial and African authors within a socio-political vacuum. R.JanMohamed, in his succinctly argued introduction, adopts Frantz Fanon's premise that the colonial world is inherently Manichean. He proceeds to dissect the British colonial mentality, framing it as a Manichean allegory defined by stark contrasts: white and black, good and evil, salvation and damnation, civilization and savagery, superiority and inferiority, intelligence and emotion, self and other, subject and object. Colonial ideology, according to R.JanMohamed, derogatorily interprets the other, the native or the subjugated, within these dichotomies. The book delves into the economic and political structures of colonialism, giving thoughtful but limited attention to these aspects. It argues that the colonial world, both in its structures and ideological justifications, was primarily experienced through the lens of race. The racial dichotomy, more significant in colonial social relations than class divisions, reached its purest form in the categorically and absolutely Manichean society of apartheid South Africa. At the heart of the book is a compelling analysis of how various European and African writers grappled with the Manichean bifurcation of the colonial context. R.JanMohamed focuses on 6 authors: Joyce Carey and Chinua Achebe representing Nigeria, Isaac Dinison and Ngugi wa Thiong'o from Kenya, and Nadine Gordimer and Alex Laguma from South Africa to explore the antagonistic relationship between colonial and African literature, the hegemonic and the non-hegemonic. Carey, a civil servant, embodies a conventional view of the degraded savage, producing what can be considered straightforward hegemonic literature. In contrast, the other 2 colonial writers, Dinison and Gordimer, present more complex perspectives. Dinison, a proponent of the noble savage cult, attempts to transcend conventional Manichean dichotomies, while staying rooted in her mythic feudal world. Gordimer struggles to break free from hegemonic ideology entirely, and seeks to reconcile the self and the other in the South African context. The African writers, paired with their colonial counterparts, react against negative colonial depictions by rejecting the marginalization of black life, reclaiming the dignity of the past, and charting a course toward cultural regeneration. R.JanMohamed's book stands out as a tour de force in many aspects, brimming with elegantly presented insights. The reader is inevitably impressed by the author's keen understanding of literary nuances, and the meticulous craftsmanship evident throughout the work. R.JanMohamed adeptly endeavors to position each writer within a socio-political context, achieving notable success, such as in his illuminating presentation of the background to apartheid. However, there are instances where this attempt falls short of historical accuracy, as observed in the treatment of missionary education in Kenya. Despite these occasional inaccuracies, the overall endeavor is undoubtedly a step in the right direction. The reader is left with a nuanced understanding that rejects the notion of colonial life being comparable to life elsewhere, emphasizing that colonial literature cannot be divorced from the broader colonial situation.